Nintendo themed Keyblades have been added to Kingdom Hearts. While Kingdom Hearts was mainly known as a series that thrived on PlayStation hardware, there are tons of games that have made their way to Nintendo systems. In fact, tons of the side stories and smaller titles were carried on Nintendo handhelds. And now, years later, with the inclusion of Sora in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that relationship just continues to grow stronger. Of course, when the series made its way to PC, it opened the door for what is possible. In this video, I'll be highlighting a handful of creative and fun Nintendo themed mods towards Kingdom Hearts 3. And as a Nintendo fan for my entire life, the concept these modders have created are unbelievably good. The Keyblade especially, since it's a weapon that could take on so many different forms, from an incredibly intimidating sword to literal scoops of ice cream. The Keyblade is able to adapt and change with its wielder. And for starters, what if there was a Keyblade created for Super Mario? Introducing the Shroom Stomper, a Keyblade inspired by Princess Peach's castle. I really like how the teeth of this blade is the power star attached to the very top of the tower, and there's even this stained glass rendition of Princess Peach's window at the very top, making a reference to her castle from tons of different entries in the Mario universe. And the keychain is a super mushroom, an item known for making Mario bigger and allowing him to take an extra hit. Then there's the handguard, which promotes the princess's crown in a handguard formation. Although the thing that makes this incredibly impressive are the included sound effects. Each Keyblade swing has its own custom Mario sounds to go along with it. Since Shroom Stomper is attached to the favorite deputy Keyblade, that means it has two different Keyblade transformations. The first is Hammer Bros, replacing the Keyblade with a large green warp pipe, directly under it being a question mark block famous for holding down Mario's power-ups. Eventually, leveling up this form will bring it to the next, Drill Bros, which looks incredibly close to the design of a piranha plant coming out of a warp pipe. Then there's also the Bowser spikes surrounding the pipe itself. There are tons of moving parts for this piece, which is incredible how much work was put into it. Not only that, but there's a custom UI for each of the Keyblade transformations. Who knows, maybe we'll see a Mario-themed Keyblade appear in Kingdom Hearts after all. Moving on, we got the Hyrule Guide, a Keyblade based off of the Legend of Zelda series. Of course, a lot of it is the Master Sword with smaller references to the series, like the Triforce being used as the keychain for this weapon. I do like how the teeth for this weapon is half of the royal family's crest at the very front. It also has the sharpness of the Master Sword, meaning that enemies will certainly get cut up from this. When you hit enemies with the Hyrule Guard, Triforce particle effects would appear in the air. Since this Keyblade is attached to the Hercules Keyblade, that means its transformation will include a shield. The Guardian of Hyrule form will give Sora access to the Hylian Shield, one of Link's most iconic items in his inventory. If enemies attack it, you can dish out damage directly by using a giant fist. The cool part about this mod is that Sora will still keep the Master Sword in this section. It seems as though the Hylian Guard is being split off into two different pieces during this transformation. Hopefully Link won't mind too much that Sora is using his gear. Moving on to Pokemon, we have the Ideal Truth. Now the cool thing about this Keyblade is that it's based off the best Pokemon game, Black and White, having its design be a combination between the legendary Pokemon of that region. Kyurem, the legendary Ice-type Pokemon, is used to represent the body and the tooth of the blade with its icy exterior. And then Reshiram and Zekrom as being used as the handguard, split right down the middle to represent their harmony and struggle. Then of course the keychain for this Keyblade has to be a Pokeball. Now, this Keyblade is attached to both Oathkeeper and Oblivion, which honestly makes perfect sense. Those two Keyblades act as polar opposites to one another, just like Zekrom and Reshiram. For this video, I'll be using the Oblivion Keyblade. Now, the cool part about this is when you enter your first form, they designed Sora's clothes with a little bit of Pokemon insignias, like the icons of the legendary Pokemon being attached to his knees, and the hidden Pokeball icon resting on his hood. Upon entering the second form, the Keyblade will be split into two separate blades, keeping the theme of Zekrom and Reshiram acting as their own respective blade. I like how the handles are similar to the engines attached to each of the legendary Pokemon. Honestly, the small details in this one go such a long way. Makes me hope we can get an official Pokemon Keyblade someday. But to take a quick detour, look at this diamond sword. I know Minecraft isn't a Nintendo-owned property, but Minecraft is insanely popular on the Nintendo Switch, and Steve is now the main playable character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with how he's been cooking everyone in the competitive scene. So I just wanted to put some respect on the diamond sword. While there are no transformations with this one, it just gets the job done. Sora simply can use the diamond sword against tons of enemies. I love this Keyblade mod, especially when it's Toy Box World. It just looks like it belongs in this place. For more full weapon mods, we also got the Monado from Xenoblade Chronicles. Now normally when I'm recording footage for these videos, I usually go to the data greeting screen. It's a way for me to get cool shots of the Keyblade from really close up. Although when I try to do that for the Monado, I had this happen. It was just blown up super big and I couldn't find the version of Sora that was holding it anymore, and I thought it was pretty funny and I wanted to share these big shots. I guess that is the Monado's power. While this mod is just focused on pulling the Monado into Kingdom Hearts 3, there is a full Keyblade mod, creating a rendition of the Monado in Keyblade form, and that's the Mighty Monado. I'll be completely honest when I say I know nothing about Xenoblade Chronicles. Most of my experience has been trying to fight with Shulk and Smash Bros, and I know it's one of those million RPGs that I have to play, so maybe I'll get on it someday, so it's a bit difficult for me to comment on the intricacies of this design, but I will say I love how sensitive this Keyblade is to the light. With it being entirely metal, almost every facet of the blade is responding to the light around it. Then there's this cool circle in the middle that will display a heart insignia on one side but not on the other, and I thought that was a really cool small detail. The Keyblade is also attached to the Ultima weapon, making the mighty Monado the strongest Keyblade in the game. Not only that, but it also takes the solid blue design for whenever Sora enters Ultimate form. It's nice to just run around in this form since the sword just looks so fire with this design. And like the original Monado, this isn't the only full-on blade port to make its way into Kingdom Hearts 3. They also put a full-blown Master Sword mod, giving Sora the ability to use the blade to bring down evil for generations in a never-ending battle. I would say the lighting for this sword is really good. No matter what world I decided to explore, the Master Sword always looked like it belonged. It also doesn't have any transformations or anything, since the Hyrule guide is pretty much going to be the best for that. Still, it's really nice to see that purple handguard appear in a game outside of Zelda. Next up is the Beam Katana from No More Heroes, a series that debuted on the Wii back in 2007, and it was a hit for those who had played it. Mainly due to its M rating, it was a big separation from all the other popular Wii games at the time. The Beam Katana is really impressive because of how it gives off that glow. The Keyblade itself acts as a light source no matter where Sora decides to bring it. It's directly attached to the Kingdom Key, keeping Sora in second form when he transforms. Like the other direct import weapon, this also doesn't have any Keyblade transformations, but honestly, it doesn't even need one. I like just looking at these weapons, and it does give me hope for like an official lightsaber type Keyblade in the future. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Next up is another weapon from the Legend of Zelda, the Four Sword. Mainly used as a weapon from the Legend of Zelda Four Swords, this title brings together 4 separate links and requesting them to work together and save the world. At the time, it was pretty impressive trying to get everyone together to play this because of how much hardware was needed. Outside of multiple copies of the game, you also needed link cables to run them together. Regardless, this blade makes an appearance in the Kingdom Hearts series. It kind of acts as the Master Sword's less popular brother in the series, but it's still one of those foundational blades in the Legend of Zelda series. Coming up is a Keyblade making its debut through the Mega Man series. The Tribe King is a weapon inspired by Mega Man Star Force 2 on the Nintendo DS. During this time, there were tons of Mega Man titles making an appearance on the Nintendo handhelds, and the Mega Man series has a strong foundation with Nintendo, releasing games as far back as the NES. This Keyblade in particular was inspired by the Tide King Tribon form. In that title, you were able to combine all 3 tribes to create this ultimate final form. You can see the neck of the blade being pulled directly from his glowing sword, and the head matching the blaster on his other arm. I really do like how big this Keyblade is compared to Sora's smaller size. It really shows that our boy does not miss a single day of lifting. As for another non-Nintendo themed Keyblade, we have one based off of Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, I feel like the Blue Blur deserves it. All of his new games come out on Nintendo hardware, and Mario and Sonic can duke it out in Smash Bros now. I covered this Keyblade in a YouTube short before, but this time it came with a few new features. For the overview, I'm ecstatic of how this looks like a checkpoint from the games. Not only that, but the handguard looks like the openings from the classic Sonic games. The 7 Chaos Emeralds keychain is also an incredible inclusion. Sora will be able to enter Act 2. Here, the UI changes to be similar to Green Hill Zone. Not only that, but he ends attacks with rings coming from his blade. Although the cream of the crop has to be the included sound effects. Just take a look at this.
Here we go.
It's incredible. While all of these Keyblades have been fan-made interpretations of what Nintendo Keyblades would look like, there is actually one official Nintendo-themed Keyblade in the series, and that's the Avent Red Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts 3. This was officially released exclusively for the Nintendo Switch to celebrate the release of the cloud versions of the game. It's a red and color swap of the Star Cluster Keyblade, and every other console version has their own take on the blade. I do like how the colors match the same palette as the Joy-Cons from the original Nintendo Switch model. For the sake of this footage, I am running a mod that puts this blade into the PC version of the game. It does exist on the Switch version, but honestly, I'm not trying to put any time into that version right now. And these are all the Nintendo-themed Keyblade mods I can find at the moment. While the PC versions of the Kingdom Hearts games are still pretty new, more creative mods will likely be created in the future. Like, I would love to imagine Keyblades for Nintendo properties like Kirby, Pikmin, Metroid, F-Zero, Star Fox, and so much more. Still, all of these mods have been incredible, and everyone who worked on them should be super proud. Hopefully we'll see some official Nintendo Keyblades released in the future. Although there's one Nintendo themed mod that I can't resist showing you guys. This is Waluigi in Kingdom Hearts. Now, someone just up and imported his model into the game. It doesn't move its head or mouth or anything, but it looks directly pulled from the GameCube era games. It also replaces his Keyblade with the Mario tennis racket. Not only that, but the modder went above and beyond with this one. If you head to the Toy Box world, the model will be replaced with the N64 design, showing off how sharp and polygonal Waluigi was in his very beginnings. And that's not all. Of course that's not all. He has his own custom voice lines. Introducing Waluigi in Kingdom Hearts.
Hey! What?